Witam serdecznie w kolejnym dniu z Jacek Chyba się kłania. Jestem dzisiaj w Tarnowie na 7. edycji festiwalu jazzowego Grupa Azoty Jazz Contest. Mam okazję rozmawiać z Johnem Scofieldem i będzie to mój pierwszy wywiad po angielsku. Serdecznie zapraszam do programu. I have a great pleasure to have John Scofield here talking with me. Hi John.
Hi.
It is a real pleasure to have you over in my hometown, Tarnow. You came here for the festival with one of your many crews, with Mr. Medeski, Hood and Martin. It's not the first time that you're in Poland. I had a pleasure to see you last year in Katowice with your other project, Jam. How is this one different to the previous one?
Well, Medeski, Martin, and Wood, you know, are really an established group. They've been together for more than 20 years, and they've just they're wonderful, you know. And I'm lucky I get to fit in because I have guitar, I play guitar, and they're keyboards, bass, and drums.
Yep.
And I don't know, our music just works together, you know. I mean, I think I fit in with them, and. You know, I don't know what the differences are. It's hard to say in words, you know, but everybody has a little different approach to music.
You guys been playing together for some time,
well,
since a go-go, right?
We did a go-go, was in 1998, so yeah.
Excellent album, I really love it.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so basically you're promoting now on this tour your new album, Juice.
Juice, yes.
What was the motivation behind the album? What is the message?
This record, we really kind of wanted to do a Latin record, Latin kind of music, what they used to call Latin music, you know, Afro-Cuban and Brazilian,
I see.
And reggae, and this all music that actually has African roots rhythmically.
Okay. By the way, are you a fan of The Doors? Because there's Light My Fire on it, your cover.
That's the tune that's the least African. You know?
Okay, yeah, that's right.
It was Chris Wood, the bass player, who said, let's try Light My Fire.
Okay.
And I thought, and then it turned out great.
Okay, I see. Any other pop or let's say rock bands that you're a fan of? Clearly you started as a guitarist being fan of Jimi Hendrix, of Eric Clapton, maybe guys like that.
I did start as a rock guitar player and listened to all the greats, you know, and the famous guys when I was a kid in the 60s. And
of course.
And I really, you know, I love blues guitar, you know, which is related to rock guitar. It's the father of rock
somehow
guitar.
It is, yeah.
And I loved B.B. King.
Okay, so he would be your favorite blues
I don't have a favorite. You know, I love Albert King too. He's unbelievable. And there are a lot of younger players that have been around that are really great too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see. So let's talk about jazz. How do you think jazz is evolving these days? I mean, is it like dying? Is it dying out, or is it becoming more popular? How is the situation in the States, for instance?
You know, I think that jazz has always been kind of a outsider music, and it was always it's not pop music, you know. So there's a small audience for it, and so in that way, jazz is my experience has always been that, you know, there were a few jazz fans, but most people like other kinds of music, so it's, you know, it's special. As far as the music, it comes and goes, you know. New musicians keep coming up and it changes a little bit, but it's hard for me to really put my finger on how it's different. One great thing is getting to come to Europe a lot. I hear bands with a little different take on it in Europe, and that's really healthy, I think,
so you see
the music to change. You know?
You see big difference? I mean, across the ocean, does it differ a lot?
In some ways, I think everybody brings their own culture to it. And in other ways, the world is a smaller place, you know, so you and I are talking here and we could be having the same conversation in the United States, you know.
Probably,
really
yeah.
Not so different.
Yeah, I have a visa, so yeah, I could be having I could come.
That's important, yeah.
It is, it helps.
You don't want to have illegal entry. You can't leave.
Of course not. Okay, when you look back at the time when you joined Miles Davis band back in the 80s, actually. Yeah. What do you think about that time? How has your career, let's say, evolved?
Well, I was a younger guy, you know, and it was great for me to play with Miles. He was my idol. and he still is. I love his music. And he was really an interesting person too. He was, it's interesting to play with somebody who's a real public figure like that too. It meant a lot to me. But he was one of my connections to the older music, which I really love. And that's the thing about jazz, is you pass on the music you learn. Miles passed it on to all the musicians that he worked with,
I see.
And learning from records is one thing, but it's really great to know somebody and they can tell you their experiences about playing music. Because I'm a music fan first before I'm a musician.
Of course.
And I love just anything about jazz music. It's always fascinated me.
Okay. Who would you mention as your favorite jazz guitar player?
Well, I don't have one.
Of course, it is difficult to have just one, right?
I don't think, I've had different people that I was obsessed with over the years and would listen to, and a big influence for me and one of the people who I loved his playing was Jim Hall.
Jim Hall, yeah.
And I also loved Wes Montgomery, and early on Pat Martino. I just loved him, and George Benson, incredible. I mean, these guys are the great innovators on the guitar, and also Django Reinhardt. Charlie Christian, I guess he pretty much started it,
Okay. How did you came up with this unique and recognizable sound? I think that from a few notes, one hearing you playing can tell, okay, it's John Scofield for sure.
Well, thank you very much. I don't know how I came up with any, I don't think any of us know. We just play, we take the different things we're working on. I listened a lot to horn players.
Okay.
And took from piano players and horn players.
So you would just try to write down the music and...
Write it down or just learn it by ear. Listen to the feel of blowing on your jazz feel.
Because many musicians mention that they learn solos by heart in order to improve their...
I never really learned a whole solo until this year. And then I learned one because I wanted to teach jazz, and I didn't know how to teach it except for learning solos. I would learn parts of solos. Okay. And then I learned a whole Lester Young solo to Lady Be Good. It's a great solo.
Okay, I see. Also, you had a very important period in your career with Dennis Chambers and Gary Granger. So it must have been horrid information for you that Dennis wasn't doing very well. How is he now? Because
he's much better.
He had some issues. Yeah. He had cancer, right?
No, he had some health issues, and diabetes was involved, and maybe some liver problems. I'm not sure. Exactly, but it's not cancer, and he's much better.
I'm really glad to hear that. Are you planning to reunite somehow one day?
I would love to play with Dennis again. We got to work that out because I love him, and that band, the Blue Matter Band.
Oh, it was so good.
We'll do it again sometime. Yeah.
All those albums. It was,
Thank you so much.
loud jazz. Excellent stuff, really.
I gotta go do the sound check. But
okay, it was a real pleasure. Thank you for visiting us here in Tarnow, and thanks for the interview.
Good to be here.
Cheers.
All right.